Good morning, everyone, and thank Nithya for that excellent introduction. We're here to talk a little bit about the programs, the public legal education programs that West Coast Leaf puts on. We have two main workshops that we do. Both deal kind of with general themes of power and stereotypes. One that is specifically about consent and sexual assault, called No Means No, and the other one called Youth in the Workplace, which deals with employee rights and also with sexual harassment. So Mia and I have been doing these programs for about 3 years now. We actually did our very first workshop together 3 years ago. And so we're kind of the veterans of the program, I guess you could say. So we're going to talk a little bit about, some of the things that we feel and we feel others get out of these programs. For ourselves as facilitators, I think it's been an amazing experience to be involved with West Coast Leaf in this way. I think you get to work with some really amazing people, both the staff, the other facilitators who are involved. So there's been about 36 since Mia and I started that have come in and out of the program, and they come from, university, high school, out in the working world, all over the place. So that's been really amazing. And I think most of all, probably the students. We presented to over 1,000 students in the last 3 years, which is a huge number, a lot of, 12-year-olds. And even Mia and I alone have been about 400. So it's been just great to meet all of these different students from, again, all over Vancouver, from Surrey and, private schools like York House to public schools in the East Side. So it's been really amazing. Also, I think you get a lot of learning out of it. So not just facilitation and public speaking, things like I'm doing now, but also just learning about your rights. And I think as a presenter on these workshops, it really reinforces the importance that knowing your rights has for everyone. And even we may get kind of caught up in our own lives, but it's important to fall back and remember, okay, these things are really important. And for me, best way to learn something is to teach it. Teaching anything to 40, 13-year-olds and trying to keep their attention, you know that you have to learn it to a really deep level. And then I guess the final thing is that it's just been really so much fun. It's a chance to go back to high school for an afternoon. I wouldn't want to stay there much longer than that, but just to return to all those good memories and, again, meet such amazing people and have a really, really good time.
So just to add to what Adam said, I also think that it provides great exposure to the law. So in my first year of law, you and Chuck and the Employment Standards Act were old friends I was becoming reacquainted with. So if you know any youth that are interested, please take Deanna Ogle's card from the program desk. She's the education manager at West Coast Leaf, and put them in touch because it's a great program. The most valuable thing I want to make sure to impart, though, is being a part of that positive change in West Coast Leaf, and that positive change that West Coast Leaf has in the community, seeing that firsthand, that's been the most amazing experience. I want to say a few words about the impact we see on students and youth in those workshops. So first, it's great to impart general knowledge. So for students and youth to become aware of their rights, whether in the employment setting or in relationships. And it's rare to have that open space to just delve into things like stereotypes and gender in high school. And we find that it gets to the core of a lot of the issues underlying bullying these days. So for example, youth often come to the realization that perhaps those homophobic comments in school that are casually thrown around are not that cool. And again, we're facilitators, we're not lecturers. So I think the impact is very different when youth are coming to it on their own versus a teacher lecturing you on what that's like. So this leads me to want to share just how personal it gets for some of the students and youth that we present to. For example, questioning the machoism that's passed down to you through generations, seeing that reflected back in scenarios and role plays suddenly gives you a different awareness of it. And we have experienced, tearing up, young people tearing up, reading scenarios of sexual assault that hit very close to home. So it's amazing to be part of that open, positive space that lets students deal with these issues. And not only do we feel it in these workshops, but we also get these comments back in our feedback or our evaluation forms at the end of our workshops. And while a 12-year-old might not say, now I feel like I have a great handle on the legal concept of consent, they will say things like, I learned how not to sexually assault someone, which is a great lesson, I think. Or they'll say things like, boys can be sexually assaulted too, which, again, you don't hear a lot in school. And that silence doesn't mean yes. Again, an important lesson. So I think I speak for all the youth facilitators, some of which are in the room right now, when I say that we feel very privileged to see firsthand that positive change that West Coast Leaf has in the community. So thank you.